Threats to the validity of experiments. We can distinguish two broad threats. It's internal threats or external threats. And internal threats include the history, maturation, testing, instrumentation, statistical regression, selection, attrition, mortality, or interaction between any of the threats. There will be another video about the external threats. So what is the history effect? History is when specific events in addition to the treatment can occur between the first and second measurement. The longer the interval between the pretest and the posttest, the more viable this threat. So, for example, you can have an event like 9/11 happen during your study, and that can mess up your whole experiment because that event might have a much larger influence than your treatment. Then, second effect would be maturation, the changes in physical, intellectual, or emotional characteristics that occur just because time passes. So these effects could happen, and maybe we could mistakenly take them for effects of the experiment. The third effect could be testing, which can also call pretest sensitization. It means that the effect of simply taking the test could have on the participants. Fourth, the instrumentation. Maybe there's changes in the way that your test or measurement is conducted, and that could create some differences, and maybe we could attribute those differences to the test changes. The fifth effect would be statistical regression. Sometimes we just have the tendency over time for the values of certain people to, or the scores of certain people to regress towards a certain mean. Then also selection effect. This can happen when groups might have been different to begin with. So therefore there's no difference because of the experiment, but because of initial differences. Then attrition-mortality is when the group that is being tested at the beginning is not the same as at the end, because certain people drop out of your control group. For example, if you do a study in schools, maybe some children move, and therefore your sample is different at the end of the study than at the beginning. And the eighth one is the interaction between any of these threats. So it could be a selection-maturation interaction, or a history and maturation interaction. All kinds of possible interaction effects could happen.